When you are seeking to gain at another person's expense, that's one mark of gambling. It's the sin of covetousness. Get me? What are we doing when we go into a gambling situation? What are we seeking to do? We are all seeking to gain at another person's expense, isn't it? 4 persons sitting around playing mahjong on Christmas Day. You understand? Right? What are everybody seeking to do? I'm hoping to get your money. I'm hoping to gain something at the expense of all 3 of you. That's the sin of covetousness. That's why one mark of it, okay, is this. Number 2, when you're seeking to get something for nothing, that's what's wrong with gambling. It's the sin of slothfulness, isn't it? Every gambler is like that. They all want to get something for doing nothing. 3, seeking to gain much in a short time frame. Which gambler go inside the casino and say, I hope within the next 2 years I will make some money? No, man. They go in there and say, within the next 2 hours, I'm going to make a bundle. Everybody goes in there with one mentality: get rich quick. And that is wrong. Here's number 4. What is gambling? When you're seeking to take a chance against an artificially created risk. Every time you put a jackpot, you know what you're doing? You are taking a chance at an artificially created risk. Now, we all know that in life, there's risk everywhere. Even you drive a car also got risk. Take aeroplane also got risk. Life is risky. I know that. But what are we doing when we gamble? We are taking a risk at an artificially created risk. The risk is not originally there. We create it. And then you take a chance against it. Then you are gambling. That applies to jackpot machine, roulette table, poker cards, etc. What is that? It's the sin of greed. It's a sin of greed. Seeking to take a chance at the artificially created risk so that I can get something out of it. So, watch this. If you notice these elements existing in your financial dealings, you watch out. And these things can happen even when you are in the stock market. Even when you're into any financial instrument, this risk can happen. These factors, these elements, these 4 elements can actually happen. And then you cross the thin line, between investing and gambling. Are you with me here? Get me? And as believers, we must be painfully honest. Be prepared to take a stand against this demon of gambling. Now, I personally counseled cases where families are destroyed now because of gambling, fathers and mothers and all that. And you listen to me, the people who can afford to gamble don't need the money. And those who need the money cannot afford to gamble. That's a fact. So don't take that risk. C.M. Watt says gambling is robbery by mutual consent. It's gambling by mutual consent. We all sit around the table, I give you permission to rob from me, and then you give me permission to do the same. It's mutual, but we are seeking to rob. People who sit at the table and gamble are just doing that. We are seeking to rob each other, isn't it? There's a standing joke in Las Vegas. The standing joke is this. Capital city, gambling capital city of USA, the standing joke is, many people arrive in a $25,000 Cadillac. They go home in a $75,000 bus. You arrive in a $25,000 Cadillac, go home in a $75,000 bus. Everything gone. Gambling is incompatible with the Christian view of God. You know why? Because with the Christian responsibility of loving our fellow man, it just doesn't gel. With the Christian understanding of stewardship, it doesn't gel. With the Christian view of the responsible use of our time and energy, it doesn't gel. So gambling is really out of place in a Christian's life. So I want to challenge you, my brothers and sisters. The key now is to do this, is to make sure that no matter what happened in the nation, we have a personal stand over our own life. Amen. That we will not be a part of this. And it is the only way to overcome that spirit, again, is just we walk away from it. Here's number 4, quickly. 4th thing you watch out for, danger zone, is a trap of debt. The trap of debt. Shall we read Proverbs 22:7? The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Don't forget that. In the end, if we're a borrower, we'll be a servant to the lender. Romans 13:8. Owe no man anything except to love one another. It's a good principle, that one of the things that ensnares many of us is a debt trap. When we invest in money we do not really have, we buy on leverage, or we punch with what we don't have. Watch out. We should not borrow in order to get more out of it. It's far better for a Christian to stay debt-free. As much as possible, we stay debt-free if we can. Don't fall into that modern mania, which goes like this. We buy the things we don't need with the money we don't have just to impress the people we don't even know. It's a modern phenomenon, We buy things we don't really need with money we don't even have because we buy on credit just to do what? Impress people we don't even know. So every time we drive around in our huge car and all that, and everybody look, wow, you think, by the way, they're not looking at you, they're looking at your car. Understand? It's not you, it's the car. And you get this mistaken idea. So we don't fall into this trap. The debt trap comes out of that. Now, first question we ask, every time I bring this up, they say, what about mortgages, hire purchase? Isn't it true that in a nation like ours, we all need to buy a house, a car on hire purchase or a mortgage? What about overdraft facilities? How do we reconcile this? And here's how I see it. When we get into a mortgage agreement, a hire purchase agreement, or we are entering into a contract with a financial institution. Agree? And you go into a mortgage, you have a contract with a financial institution. And the term of the contract is such that we are not in debt, until we fail to pay the installment. If you fail to pay the installment, you are in debt. So as long as you are able to keep up payments, you're not in debt. And that is why, here's the key. We must only enter into such contracts if we are sure we can afford to do so. We can afford to pay it. That means don't live above your means. Simple as that. Now, having said that, I want to encourage this generation to live with as low a level of debt as you can, because I believe that as we move into the end times, God will ripen the harvest very fast. And we are going to have to speed up, our response to the calls of God. Are you with me? We may not have the luxury of time anymore. So I always say to this generation, especially the teens and 20-somethings, the young people, I always tell them, you are going to be a special generation. Strong in the spirit, strategic in your thinking, sacrificial in your lifestyle, so that anytime God speaks to you, you can drop it and you can go. But if you are up to your neck with debt, even if God slap you over the head, ask you to go China, you cannot. Who's going to pay your mortgage? See, and my generation, and I will say it very honestly, I think sometimes we fail, primarily because we have become lovers of comfort and convenience. And my prayer for the next generation, raised not in poverty, but raised in affluence. And because they have tasted affluence, they know that money is not the answer to everything. So if God speaks to you, you're ready. May you have that kind of a spirit, and we stay loose, so that if God calls us, we can do it without fear of financial constraint. Besides, I think we live in such volatile times, anything can happen. Whatever you have today, we may end up with nothing tomorrow. One more plane crash into another building and you see all the paper wealth disappear. Just like that. We live in a very volatile world today. In the light of the times that we live in, I encourage all of us to strategize to stay as debt-free as possible. Principle is this: better to make less than to lose all.